Hello, it's your Missniecytv, and I'm here to do a review for Zatima Season 4, Episode 17. The episode picks up with Angela and Fatima talking to Belinda at the salon, and Belinda's like, what? Because she's still reeling over the fact of Angela just told her that she had a heart attack, and she's like, so nobody thought to call me? So Angela immediately goes into apologizing, and Belinda's like, I don't want to hear that, y'all should have called me. I see that I'm not really y'all friend. Then Belinda decides to get buck with everybody. First she goes to Fatima, and I'm like, why do you have all this smoke with Fatima? Belinda, you might want to tread lightly because you just got cool with Fatima again, and now you want to get in her face because you're mad at Angela for something that Angela should have told you. It was Angela's situation, and if she wanted you to know, she would have called. But Angela almost had to get with her too, and I'm like, Angela, you shouldn't be fighting. You just had a heart attack, didn't you? The only part that I didn't understand or like about this is that Belinda kept telling him to get out and they still stood there trying to make peace with her. But eventually they have their little kumbaya moment and they become friends again, and then they start talking about the baby shower and how Fatima's going to do her hair for the baby shower, and Fatima's like, I don't know, and then they start talking about what Fatima's going to wear to the baby shower. She's like, I don't know. So they just had to go dress shopping. And, they're doing a girls' night at the club to go over the details about the baby shower. Some time passes and Sean walks in and he hugs some girl under the dryer. And Angela gets up and she's like, who's this, Sean? Angela's like, so all that stuff you told me about me being the reason you fell in love again, that was a lie? Angela's like, so who's this be? And Sean is like, you might not want to do that because you'll make a fool of you. Angela's like, is this your wife? And then she turns to the girl and she's like, are you his wife? Is he telling me what you do, or is he getting down to business with you? Angela's like, I just had a heart attack and you ain't call and check on me or nothing. I'm like, Angela, how was he supposed to do that? He didn't even know. Sean said the same thing I said. He's like, I didn't even know. So Sean is like, Angela, did you really have a heart attack? Angela's like, yeah. Sean is like, I'm sorry. Then Angela's like, well, you haven't called or checked on me or nothing like that. Sean is like, well, you told me to leave you alone. Angela's like, because I thought you were alone. Sean is like, I am alone. This is my cousin. Sean keeps asking her, does she have a heart attack? And Angela's like, yeah, how many times do you have to keep asking that question? Sean, the answer's not going to change. She did have a heart attack. Angela's like, well, I do have some stuff I need to work on. Sean is like, I still have feelings for you, but you like to play games. So Angela's like, well, I had the biggest wake-up call I could get. I am moving on, and it's not because I have somebody, it's just because I can't do this no more, and all you do is play games. That's when Sean's cousin speaks up, and she's like, let's go, Sean, our auntie's waiting for us. So the girl leaves out, and then Sean tells Angela that he has to go see his auntie, and she's like, take care, I hope you feel better. So when Sean leaves, the girls are like, what happened? Angela gets back under the dryer, and she's like, I'm in love with two men. Angela, I don't think you know what love is. I think you're in lust with one of them and infatuation with the other. I think you lust after Sean, and you're infatuated with Bryce. Just think the only reason she says that she's in love with Bryce is because he gives her all the attention that she's looking for. Angela, when you say you're in love with somebody, that takes on a whole different meaning than just saying it. You actually have to feel it, and I don't think you feel it for either one of them. Then we see Zach go to anger management, and Dr. Reed's like, what are you doing here? Zach is like, I'm okay. Dr. Reed is like, you're not okay. Something's wrong. You came here willingly on your own. Something's wrong. So Zach is like, do you mind if I just sit down and talk? Because I honestly thought that he was going to go there and talk about the whole Leslie situation and the whole stalker situation. But no, he went there to talk about the whole racism situation that he's dealing with at work and how the inspector didn't want to give them the building because of Zach's past and everything. So Zach tells him that he feels like it's racism, and Dr. Reed is like, are you sure it's racism, or are you just jumping to conclusions? Zach is like, I'm sure. He's like, I just don't want to say that here, but he's like, I have my business partner working on something, so I'll see what it is. Dr. Reed is like, I hope it's legal. Zach is like, yeah, it is. Dr. Reed is like, well, I think you're jumping to conclusions because do you know if it's racism, or are you just thinking it? Zach is like, yeah, I think so. Dr. Reed is like, well, I think you should just talk to him and see his perspective on everything. So Zach is like, you talking about going to confront him face to face? Dr. Reed is like, no. Zach is like, okay, because I was just joking anyway. But Dr. Reed is like, I think you should definitely go see what his perspective is and see if it is what it is. Then Dr. Reed asks Zach, how long has he been holding this all day? How long has it been bothering him? And Zach is like, all day. Dr. Reed is like, well, you can't carry this all day because it's not going to be good. Dr. Reed is like, so when you do go confront him, do you think he's going to admit that he's racist? Zach is like, no, you just gonna gaslight me. And of course I know what that word is because Fatima uses it all the time. Dr. Reed tells Zach that he has to approach the man rationally and with calmness because if he doesn't, he's going to give him out. And it's like, don't go up there acting like Lori with a baseball bat and everything. Zach is like, where is Lori? Dr. Reed is like, she graduated the program. Zach is like, that's good for her. I'll get there one day. Over at the hospital, Connie's preparing for treatment and she's having a conversation with Dr. Solis, and Dr. Solis is asking her what she's gonna do with her chemo cut. And Connie's like, well, my hair's not really falling out like that. Dr. Solis is like, well, people normally turn into a party and everything. Connie's like, well, I don't want people to go ball with me. Dr. Solis is like, okay, well, cutting your hair is something that you can't control outside of the cancer and everything. Connie's like, I know there's a lot of things that I can't control. Dr. Solis is like, it seems like you're okay, so I'm gonna go in there. Is there anything that you need? Do you want a book to read? And he's like, no, but where's Miss Betty? We seem to have the same schedule. Dr. Solis is like, she passed away. You can tell that this is really messing with Connie, that there's possibly an outcome that Connie might pass away as well. You can see that it really hurt her because Miss Betty and her are really connected. Then we see Zach and Fatima come in, and Connie has a conversation with them, and she's like, the doctor told me that the cancer is spreading, so if something happens to me, let my kids know who I am. Connie lets them know where she wants to be buried. Keep in contact with my kids because my kids are going to Florida with my older sister, and all I want for them is to know who I am and for you to stay in contact with them and just look out for them. This is truly heartbreaking, and Zach and Fatima start to cry. We all know the connection that Zach has with Connie outside of the romantic thing that they had. He really cares about Connie. When they were younger and nobody was there for him, Connie was always there for Zach. Connie lets him know that she's fighting and she's gonna keep fighting, and Fatima's like, okay, we got you. We're gonna make sure everything. Then she lets him know that Belinda and Angela are downstairs too, because they went dress shopping for the baby shower. Then they start talking about the baby shower, and Connie's like, I can't wait. Fatima's like, do you have something to wear? Connie's like, I do. Connie asks her to see the dress, so Fatima shows her the dress, and Zach is like, can I see? Fatima's like, no. Zach is like, it's not your wedding dress. Connie's like, she said no. Zach is like, y'all were just crying, now y'all ganging up on me? Connie's like, tag team. We see Tony pull up to have a conversation with the lady about her grandson, but before he goes to have the conversation with her, he calls Nate, and we see that Nate is at the strip club so early and he's getting dances from the ladies, and Tony's like, where you at? Nate is like, I'm at the strip club. Tony's like, it's dumb early. Nate asked the ladies if they could stop dancing so they could have a conversation with Tony, and the dancer's like, you better have my money. Nate is like, well, I'll give you 20 on the next one. So Nate and Tony have a conversation, and Tony's like, have you ever done something that you thought that you could get over and you can't really get over it? Nate thinks that he's talking about something simple. He's like, I used to get over on Lori all the time. Tony is like, well, not like that. I did something really, really bad, and I don't think I can shake it, and I don't think I'll be forgiven for it. It's like, that's the point. Don't think, just ask. Ask for forgiveness, and God will handle the rest. Let the chips fall where they may. And Tony's like, I don't think I can shake it. I can't shake this. Nate is like, I know you, and I know that you're a good guy, and you wouldn't intentionally hurt anybody or harm anyone. Tony's like, yeah, but I can't really seem to shake it. I can't seem to take it. Before they get off the phone, Nate is like, hey, Tony, can I have $40 so I can pay these ladies back because you really burnt out my dance? Tony's like, why are we even friends? Nate is like, because I give you good advice sometimes. Tony's like, all right, man, I'll call you later. So Tony goes up to the door where the lady lives, and the lady's coming from around the corner, and she's like, so you've been the one that's giving me money? Tony's like, yes, man. The lady's like, even though the envelopes have been a blessing to me, I'm kind of scared. Tony's like, why are you scared? The lady's like, well, strangers just don't come around giving money. It's the cold, cold world out there. Tony's like, well, some of us don't ask for repentance. So she's like, I see you now. So she really sees who Tony is, and she has to have a conversation with him. And she asks for him to come in. She calls him son, and Tony's like, don't call me that. So the lady starts going on to tell a story about how when they found her grandson, she was relieved about the whole situation because he was a dangerous person and he hurt so many people. He blamed her for how he was raised, and he blamed his mom, and the lady's like, she did everything that she could for him, and he still didn't care. And she said that every Sunday she used to pray for him, sowing seeds, and it still didn't work, and he didn't find his peace yet. And she's like, as he was learning to walk, I was chasing him around, making sure that he was doing good and everything like that. And to be honest, I haven't seen him in 2 years. She's like, after he hurt me, that was my last straw. Tony's like, well, I know kind of what Devontae went through because I did the same thing with my mom. And Tony's like, I used to give my mom trouble until she sent me to go live with my dad, and unlike Devontae, I got a second chance. And the lady is like, well, you know what? You need to let this go. This is a cross you can't bear. You gotta give it to the Lord. Then she asked Tony, can she pray with him? And they pray together. And the lady lets Tony know if he is ever feeling bad that he could always come talk to her. And Tony's like, I don't think that's a good idea. She's like, my name is Della. He's like, my name is Tony. And she's like, well, take care of yourself and I hope you have a nice life. And Tony walks away. And I'm like, I really hope that Tony got some peace from this. Over at Zach and Fatima's, we see Zach and Fatima outside their house after coming to visit Connie, and as they're going in the house, they see a whole bunch of boxes. And I'm like, wait, what is this? They're like, did Leslie tell Malachi to order a whole bunch of baby stuff and put a bomb in it? Even though that sounds very plausible, what I think happened is Tony replaced all the baby stuff because he felt bad. Asia might have also been the one to replace it too. Let me know what you guys think about the episode. Please be sure to like, comment, and subscribe. Turn on your bell notifications. Bye.